At this time, I would like to introduce to you all my goddaughter, the love of my life, Kyra Harris Bowden. Just want her to be able to see me. Well, thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Veronica, for your long-time support. And yes, thank you to my mother, who is in the audience, who I would not be here literally and figuratively without. So, yes. Stand up, mother. Stand up, mama. Yeah. And also Miss Joanne, we've been in the fight for a long time. So, I am Michigan Supreme Court Justice Kyra Harris Bowden. And it feels good to say that, because in the state of Michigan's history, in the entire state of Michigan's history of the Supreme Court, there has never been a black woman that serves on the Michigan Supreme Court until now. And while I say that with so much pride, I do. But in 2023, let's be honest, too long, unacceptable. But I stand on the shoulders of so many people that have come before me, that have allowed me to be in this moment. And I'm so thankful for that. I'm so thankful for the black women in particular that have run for this position, sometimes multiple times, and were not successful, but uplifted me when I decided to run for Michigan Supreme Court, pregnant. Yes. I'm so thankful to be here on Women's History Month. And just a fun fact, I am only the 14th woman in the state of Michigan's history to sit on the Michigan Supreme Court. So we have some work to do. We have some work to do. And I also happen to be the youngest person to ever serve on the Michigan Supreme Court. So I'm checking off a lot of boxes over here. But the point of my service, and while I am so honored to be here, the point of my service is to represent a lived experience that has not been there before, and to make sure that other people with my demographics and backgrounds come after me. That is so important. And I'm going to say something, and, it's Women's History Month, so I'll just go ahead and say it, especially for black people. I'm so honored to be in this position. We have to pay attention to the judicial branch. So many people fought and died for civil rights. I would not be here today if people had not fought and died for civil rights. We focus a lot on the executive branch, our governor, very important. We focus on the legislative branch because without legal change, a lot of us wouldn't be sitting here. But a lot of us literally would not be sitting here had it not been for very important Supreme Court decisions. I don't need to name them off. You already know. Brown versus Board and. And so, again, I just want to say how honored I am. But we must pay attention to the judicial branch, because far too often people tell me, you're the only Supreme Court justice I've ever met. And when I was running, a lot of people couldn't name one Michigan Supreme Court justice. Now, listen, I get it. We're all busy. We're busy. But when I tell you I'm sitting at the decision-making table, there are 7 of us. I'm one of 7 equal voices at that table. And the decisions that we make can mean freedom for somebody. It can mean whether someone's child is taken away or not. It could mean civil rights in the state of Michigan. These are all things that the Michigan Supreme Court has decided on in the past and things that we're deciding on every single day. So just for context, we get about 200 appeals from the Court of Appeals every month. We have to decide, because not a lot of people can appeal as of right. We're just going to get into the weeds. I couldn't sit here and introduce myself. My bio is on the website, okay? We're just going to have a little bit of real talk here. It is the Michigan Supreme Court's job to review appeals and to take up cases. For the most part, we have complete discretion on what cases we take up, right? So I know a lot of people say, I have a case, I'm going to appeal this up to the Supreme Court. Well, the Supreme Court gets to decide whether they hear your case or not. So why is that important? If you don't have people with lived experience, with compassion, with empathy, it is easy for you to simply not take up the case. Nobody knows about it. There won't be a commotion about it. And there are people left without seeing justice. That's why it's important. Our opinions obviously are important because they're ultimately the decisions that we make that affect Michiganders. But I will tell you that the most important process is what cases we even take up. And that's why it matters who's at the decision-making table. Again, if you don't have a certain lived experience, if you don't know a Pookie and a Ray Ray, it would be very easy for you to say, I have seen this before, we don't need to see it again. I'm just being honest. It's really easy to say someone should and should not have their children when you don't understand the lived experience and the historical racism that has allowed for certain situations to occur. So I am extremely honored to be one of 7 equal voices at the decision-making table, the only person of color, the only Black person, the only millennial, the only new parent. And all of those things matter. I bring that lived experience every single day when we're thinking about justice. Again, people say, why does being a new mom, why does that matter? Again, because we're taking up termination of parental rights cases. And I have empathy and compassion. Now, I'm not going to say you're not going to agree with all my decisions. So let's just get that out of the way. You're not. But what I will do is be thoughtful, compassionate, empathetic to people that have similar and dissimilar lived experiences. Because that's what Michigan requires. The Michigan Supreme Court should reflect the diversity, experiences, background, perspective of you, of Michiganders. That's how you get justice. That's how you get justice. And so I will say for the 5th time, I am so honored to be, I really am. I really am, especially after sitting at the table and seeing some of the decisions that are being made. And some of those decisions, I might have been the 4th vote on. So 3-3, split decision. Everyone's looking at me. Kyra, what are you going to do? I'm so glad that I'm there. And I will continue to be thoughtful, empathetic, and compassionate. I will continue to make sure that marginalized communities are represented at my table. That people who might have never thought they would have been in the Michigan Hall of Justice, are seen and heard, because that's what justice requires. And I bring that with me every single day. I bring you with me every single day. So I just wanted you to know that, because a lot of people don't know the inner workings of the Michigan Supreme Court. So instead of telling my journey, which a lot of you already know, I figured I'd just share with you how important this is. This is the last stop for a lot of folks if we decide to take up the case, right? And the decisions we make set a precedent for how you will govern your life, how your children will govern their lives, and how your children's children will govern their lives. And again, I think being a new mom and thinking about the decisions that we're making and how they're going to affect generations to come is really important. So I said, when I was last year, I will be a justice for generations. That is true more now today than it ever was, especially after having my baby. But I just want to say thank you for being here, because you're here. I know I'm preaching to the choir. You know how important this is because you decided to wake up on your Saturday morning and be here, and I'm thankful for you. I am so thankful. But we have to spread the good word, and that's why I show up to almost every event that I can, because people need to know how important the Michigan Supreme Court is and the decisions that we're making on your behalf that will affect you for generations to come. So I'm taking questions. Am I taking questions? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, that's what it said on my little sheet. So if anybody has any questions, I think I can take a couple. I'm listening. I can hear.
Let's start you. Ms. Price.
Justice, I'd like to know what a typical day is for you, if you have to report every day for cases.
I'm sorry.
What's a typical day like for you? You all have to report every day.
A typical day for us, it's changed since the pandemic. So we mostly are in the Hall of Justice, either during conference, which is where we decide which cases we're going to take up or not, or we have oral argument on Wednesdays, and then once a month on Thursday we have oral argument. So that's when the parties come, try to make their case, try to convince us in an effort to or it gives us an opportunity to ask any question and try to convince us to go with the arguments. Mostly now, we work from home. So most of the time, we are reviewing cases. Again, we get about 200 cases monthly that we have to review. If we decide that it's an important issue, we decide to hold it, and we can bring it to the full body for a vote on whether we'll hear it or not. Sometimes I have been the only one to hold a case. So, this is why it's so important. Any one justice can hold a case because they think that it's an important issue that the full body should hear. So, like I said, opinions, so important. The most impactful and important part of the job is who is at the decision-making table deciding which cases the Michigan Supreme Court needs to take up. So most of my time is reading and reviewing to see which cases I should take up, reading cases for oral argument, and then, of course, going to events like this and being a mommy to my 7-month-old.
Well, I just want to say, if I can speak, I know I speak for everybody here. We are so proud of you.
Thank you.
Right here, in the black sweater.
So I will say there is a 4-3 progressive majority on the court. And so when I say that when there have been things that are 3-3, I am a fourth vote in a lot of those cases. You want the microphone? So there's a 4-3 progressive majority, and just factually, my term ends next year, so November of 2024. So that was not a plea, just to be clear. It was just factual.
Okay. I want to commend you that you tried to bring somebody for a second chance onto your board. I was quite upset when one of your jurors decided that that wasn't a right fit. And when you sit here and speak about you being there and being able to understand, you would have been able to understand some of those things that you're saying that should be brought to the table. So I just want to commend you for that. And I'd like to know where that young man went to.
Thank you. So I have agreed for his sake to not talk about the situation, because what I never want to do is impede anyone's job opportunities. But what I will say is what I said before. I will always have people from marginalized communities at my decision-making table, because one, as I've said before, that's what justice requires. If you surround people that all look and think like you, you're missing the mark. You're missing the mark. So I will say I have the only black person and black woman that works as a clerk at the Michigan Supreme Court. I'm not done. I have the only Arab American woman that currently works at the Michigan Supreme Court. Not done. I have a law clerk that is a first generation college graduate. And I have a law clerk that is a single father of 2. And, again, different lived experiences will enhance your decision-making table when it's a person's last resort. And so I will always do that.
But when I look at you, I'm reminded of the campaign that was going down on downtown Pontiac when you were running for your office. And secondly, the amount of energy and effort good Pontiac people put forth to make sure that that was well known, well advertised. And I'd like to thank you again. I agree with you. The decision to hire someone who had earned the right to have a second chance. It reflects what you said about you got to know where the people are, what they need, what boost they need. And lastly, I'd like to say where you are is historic. And I've been reading, I'm sure other people have too, the 1619 project, where African Americans had gained positions, political positions. And our presidents and constitution took those rights away from them. So when we look at you and we look at other African Americans or people of color who are striving to make this a more equal society in which we live in, we can't take it lightly. And knowing that young people like yourself are setting the goals high for other generations to come, and I thank God for the opportunity to witness.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
I am so proud of you being the first African American that served on the Supreme Court. Now I got something that I can share with my great grandson.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Justice Bolden, H. Maxey, is your security adequate? What type of security that you have on a daily basis as related to an incident with the governor?
Well, I will say, clearly I don't have, I mean, it's clear there's no security with me today. The justices, I will say, it's supposed to be a position that is inaccessible, right? Just like so many people have told me, I've never met a Supreme Court justice, and I'm not going to say all of them, but for the most part, a lot of them don't come out and do community events in the same way that I do. So there's really no precedent for um, for a lot of security measures, but we're working on it. We're working on it. Because we want our justices to be in the community. We want them to feel safe. We want to feel safe doing so. But I will say, as many of you know, that I was in the Michigan Capitol on April 30th when they stormed it. I was there. So when I said last year that I will not be deterred, and I will make decisions without fear or favor, I mean it, because I stayed there and did my job under threat of violence. And, unfortunately, I hate that it requires that type of mentality, but you know that I'll sit and do my job because I have proved that. But we're working on some things. Thank you. Yes.
Are there any other questions?
Yes.
Okay.
My name is Jalika.
Could you stand, please?
My name is Jalika Dumas. I'm the president of the National Association of Black Women in Construction Detroit.
Yes. Yes.
And if you got any events or anything you want and you need somebody to come with you, we're more than happy to volunteer to be there to support you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I know. Tylene is part of the organization. Yeah, I know. Any? Yes. No, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, I think those are all the questions. I just want to say thank you, Pontiac. You have always had my back. I know Yaktown don't back down, so I will bring the strength of Pontiac with me wherever I go.
Let's give her a standing round of applause.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And you go back to your